Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the main objective of calling this meeting today is to brief you and clarify the resolution of the Council of Ministers, which it took last Friday for the changing of the timings of the time zone. This, of course, will create a lot of confusions in the minds of the people, and this is why I call you, because you are the messengers that will pass this message to the people, whether through the radio or through any other social media or through the press. So the main objective is to explain what do we mean by a time zone. Time zone is calculated on a particular number of hours. And in order to calculate it, you see the number of latitudes. Those of you who know geography, the world is divided into latitudes and longitudes. Latitudes along from the southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere, and the longitudes around the globe. The time zone is calculated in accordance with the longitudes. And between every 15 degrees, there is a difference of 1 hour. Of course, when this started, the first people who came out with the world map, and they decided to set up these longitudes and latitudes, were the British. So they put the center of the world at 0 point in a town called Greenwich. Greenwich is the town through which the zero line passes from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere. And it is called Greenwich Mean Time. Now, from the Greenwich, you move westwards, you go minus, and you move eastwards, you go plus. That is the 0 hour. And if it is at 12, say, in the Greenwich Mean Time, if you move 15 degrees eastwards, it will be 1. And if you move 15 degrees westwards, it will be 11. So it is minus to the other side and it is plus to this side. So for us here in the Sudan, we used to have, when we were Sudan, we used to follow the Greenwich Mean Time, and with it we are between 15 and 30 degrees. That is 1 hour first, and the second 30 degrees makes 2 hours. So Sudan used to have 2 hours. These 2 hours were adopted, but because of certain policies by then in the Sudan, they first came out with what we call the winter time zone and the other time zone. In winter time zone, they would maintain the 2 hours. But when it comes to the dry season zone, because we don't have all these seasons, they add 1 to make the difference to be 3. And as such, they equated with Ethiopia and with Kenya up to Dubai, up to the Gulf. This is the other from 13, from from 30 to 45 zone. So Sudan government continued like that. At the end of the day, and after independence, they decided to abolish the 2 times, the 2 mean times, and they went back to 2 hours time. This is why there is difference between us now and Sudan. When it is, say at present, it is now, say 10:30 or 25 to 10. In the Sudan, it is 25 to 9. There is difference of 1 hour between us and the Sudan. And this zone passes from there, from the north, from Egypt, that way up to South Africa and beyond. So the Sudan government decided to go back, and we were left behind. And instead of us adjusting to our mean time, according to our standards, according to our zone, we decided to follow the East African Community Zone. In actual fact, there is nothing called the East African Zone, because East African Community has no mean time. And this is why you find that in the East African Community, there is difference of hours. They have different hours, but at the same time, they are working. They are working because you are supposed to adjust your time according to your zone, not to follow the zones of others. And there is nothing called the East African Community mean time. There is nothing, because if you go to, according to the Greenwich Mean Time, there is no difference. There is difference between the 2 areas. In the East African Community, 2 countries are maintaining the 2 hours. And in the East African Community, there are 3 countries who are maintaining the 3 hours. But they are all members of the East African Community. And as such, the cabinet, after thorough deliberation, decided that if we take the measures in the far east, in the far west, in the area of Raja is 2.6. It is 1.6 hours. And if you go to the far east, it is 2.4 hours. If you add up the 2 and divide it by 2 to come up with the average mean time, then you will have a difference of 2 hours. That is, we are in latitude, between latitude 15 and latitude 30. And if we are between the 2, then we come out with the average of the 2 hours. So from the 1st of February, we are going back to our actual Greenwich Mean Time. We are going back to our local zone of 2 hours difference between the Greenwich Mean Time, which is the 0 hour, and our local time, which will be 2 hours, which will be Greenwich Mean Time plus 2 hours. This is the situation where we are going to move. And for our people, it will be difficult to understand it. So we put it in simple words. We put it in simple words. We say, when you get up in the morning, you get up at 6. Now, when you get up at 6, it is still dark. Mushkida? It will still be very dark. Because we have adopted a different system altogether. So when you get up at 6, if we go to our local time, that will be 5 o'clock in the morning. Instead of being 6, it will be 5. So, with effect from the 1st of January, when it is at 12 midnight, on the 31st, and the morning starts, that morning will not start at 12, but when it is 12 midnight of the 31st of January, it will be 11 o'clock. Bukunza Edasher. And you continue like that. So naman kunza Edasher tani beji Saat Nasher, now you will have Saat Nasher twice. Because Saat Nasher Betana, our 12th midnight of the 31st of January, will repeat itself. It will be 11, and then you go again for 12 midnight. That is when it becomes, according to our time now, when it is 1 a.m. This will be our new 12 o'clock midnight. And if you continue like that, you will get up at, you will not be getting up at 6, but you will get up. If you get up at our current local time, you will be getting up at 6. But according to the new time, you will be getting up at 5. So you don't need to get up at 5, but you get up at 6, according to our new time, which will be 1 hour behind. This is very important, because our workers, even the cleaners, when they leave South Sudan, when they leave from their offices, their houses, coming to the offices to come and clean the offices, they come at a time when it is very dark. And this sometimes causes confusion to others. It causes confusion to others. Because people know that South Sudan is not within the range of between 30 and 45 degrees at longitude. Why is it that it has adopted that system at a time when that system is not under it? This is the situation. The calculation which was done is very simple. It's very simple because if you go to the far east, the far eastern part of South Sudan, you will find that we have, you will find that you have an average time zone in degrees. You will have 3.6 hours, or 3.6 degrees, that is 36 degrees. That is, you will go beyond the 30 degrees by only 6 degrees. And if you go to the far west, you will go and you go to Raja at the borders, you will find that we are 24 degrees. And if we are 24 degrees, then we are outside the 15 degrees zone. And we have encroached into the 30 degrees zone with 6 degrees. So if you add the 24 degrees in the far west to the 36 degrees in the far east, that will make 60 degrees. And if you make the average, then that will be 30 degrees. And if it is 30 degrees longitude, then, and if you put, as I said earlier, every 15 minutes, every 15 degrees is a difference of 1 hour. So if we are at 30 degrees, then we are 2 hours plus from the Greenwich Mean Time. We are 2 hours plus, because the Greenwich Mean Time is 0. If it is 0, then we are 0 plus 2. 0 plus 2. This is what we have adopted, and this had been the situation. And when the Sudan government decided to change it, they changed it, and we followed. And before we could, immediately after independence, they changed their time zone. This is why there is difference of 1 hour between us and them. But we are in the same longitude. We are in the same longitude. And as such, it is important that we become part of that system, so that we are internationally aligned to the Greenwich Mean Time. This is sometimes referred to as the universal time, but it is the Greenwich Mean Time. This is very important, and this is the message I want you to carry to our people, so that they understand it. We are today is the 19th. And we are left with only 11 days, so that we change this time. And before we change it, we need to make it very clear to our people. We need to make them understand it. We need to keep on reminding them and repeating it for them in a very simple arithmetic and in a very simple language. Our people, most of them listen to the radio only. Very few read the newspapers. Very few do see the TV. But nevertheless, all these, the TVs, the newspapers, and the radios should take this up as a message. Take it up as a message and explain it to our people, so that when we start on the 1st, there will be no confusion. Others may misunderstand it. Gul walainkin ajade kan galugal sakamsa nas beji sarba. Others may add, others will subtract. It needs to be explained to them so that they understand it. This is very important, because changing of timing is not that easy. It is just like changing the direction of the traffic on the road. So if we explain this very well, we will definitely have a very clear transit from our 3 hours to back to our 2 hours. We'll have a clear transit from the 0 Greenwich Mean Time plus 2 instead of plus 3. This is the main objective for which I call you. It has been a long time. I never call you, and I have not talked to you for long. And some of you have been questioning as to why is Michael silent all this time. Well, I have been silent because there was nothing to be said. There was nothing to be said, and we are in the process of implementing the agreement. In the course of implementation of the agreement, we need to talk. And all the talks that we have been conducting do not need to be public. This is why I've been silent all this time. And up to this moment, we are almost reaching the end of the road, whereby we will now be in a position to establish all the state and local government institutions and the other remaining national institutions. I hope that by next week, we'll be in a position to establish all this. This is the situation in which we are. However, with that, I would say questions are invited, so that if any of you has a question, is welcome to ask his question. Any question.